Hello, this is Amy from Lucy Cake Crafts, and this is my video tutorial for how to do free machine embroidery. The reason I'm doing this is because on my blog, which is also called Lucy Cake Crafts, I posted a Valentine's Day tutorial for how to make this little embroidered love letter, and I mentioned in that I'd used free machine embroidery to stitch the name and address on the envelope, and since then I've had quite a few comments and emails asking what is free machine embroidery and how can I do it. So I thought the easiest way to cover that would be to make a little film. Now this is my sewing machine. It is a Bernina Activa 240. It is a quite expensive sewing machine. I've had it for about 6 months or so now. But it is just a plain sewing machine. It's not an embroidery machine as well. It's just a normal sewing machine. This is the area that we're going to be looking at. This is where all the action is going to happen. I've fitted a darning foot on there, which is just a little hoop shaped foot. All that's going to do is nothing more really than just to act as a guard, just because you're going to be holding the fabric quite close and moving it around. It's just a guard to stop your fingers from going too close to the needle and having an accident. The most important thing to do when you're doing free machine embroidery is to drop these teeth. This is the feed dog here. These, if you run your finger over it, you'll feel the grooves. And what they're there for is they usually feed the fabric through as you're sewing when you're doing normal straight stitch, keeping the tension of the fabric and the speed of the fabric even. With free machine embroidery, what you want to do is drop those down. And on my Bernina, the way you do that is with a button, which is just here, there. Just press that, and see, it's gone down. If I run my finger over it, it's smooth. Now, on your sewing machine, you'll probably be able to do this, but it'll be done differently because not all machines do that the same way. You'll have to look in your instruction booklet. I do know on my old machine, which is a Husky Star, that the way to do that was in here, underneath, which is where the bobbin goes, and just in there, there was a little lever, which you just knocked down, which did the same thing. But in your instruction booklet, you should be able to find out. Right, now I've got some fabric here. I'm using a hoop. I don't usually use a hoop. It's entirely up to you, it's personal preference, but I'm using a hoop because I've only got one hand free, because the other one is holding the camera. I should have really got a tripod. That probably would have been a cleverer idea, but never mind. First thing to do is I'm going to just using my hand, not the foot, put the needle down and back up again, and then pull the thread to bring the bobbin thread through from underneath. This is just so it doesn't get all snarled up underneath whilst I'm sewing. I like to bring it up and bring it out the way where it's safe and I can see where it is. Then drop the foot back down, and we're about ready to start. What I'm going to also do is just to put the needle back down into the fabric where I want to start, just by hand, just to anchor it. Then I'm ready to start using the foot pedal, which I'm going to use this very, very slowly, push my foot down, and at the same time just gently move the fabric around. I'm not going too fast because otherwise your stitches will jump, and it is just like drawing with the thread. That's the best way I can think to describe it. The sewing machine is set on just a normal straight stitch. The length of your straight stitch doesn't matter, it's irrelevant because you're setting the length of the stitch yourself by moving the fabric freely. can go a little bit faster when you get a little bit more confident. But when I'm doing this, I don't like to go too fast, because otherwise you do run more chance of the thread snapping or getting snarled up and getting into all kinds of trouble. I'm just going to stop there and bring it round so you can have a closer look. It's not very neat, but you get the idea. It could be neater, but I'm just using one hand like I said before. Oops. Right, to move and to start on a different area within the same piece of fabric, you just lift the foot up, move the needle to where you want to go, drop it back down again, and start sewing. And just carry on from there. And to separate the two, what you want to do is this piece of loose thread there, you can just snip it off here and here, and then you've got your two separate areas of embroidery. If you wanted to fill in an area, you change your stitch, which for me is just over here. There's a button there too. I change it to the zigzag stitch, and I could make my stitch, it's set on 3 at the moment, I can make it a little bit wider. Just a demonstration. You can see it's doing a zigzag, and if you just move backwards and forwards, going over the same space over and over again, you can gradually, solidly, if I just move that out of the way, see, fill in a whole area quite quickly. So there we go, that's just a little demonstration of how to do free machine embroidery. I like doing my embroidery by hand, but sometimes you don't always have the time because it can be quite time consuming, and doing it on the machine is much quicker. Okay, so I hope that's helpful, and I'll see you soon.